everyone. Welcome to Echo Art with Carmella-T. Thanks for being with me today. So I wanted to share with you, this is the time of year I jump around to the smaller projects. And today what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a little Boro Sashiko mini wall hanging, okay? Because the few that I did, those sold really quickly. People really like them. But before we do that, I'm going to share this with you, and I want to welcome you to the channel if you're new. We create with all recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies, and it's our way to give the earth a little hug. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. And we're going to get into it in a few minutes here. I just figure I go live and bring you right along with me. So I am using this really big table that I got totally free. Somebody discarded it, put it out in the yard near the dumpster, and there were a number of other pieces of furniture there, and a lot of neighbors took them, and this is a gorgeous piece. So a neighbor helped me lift this and bring it up here. So today I went to the thrift shop to get a quilt, and I'm going to take a look at this. So that's all I got. That was my, oh, the other thing I got actually, oh, I didn't bring them in. I will get them and share them with you. They're just teeny little pieces of rocks. And you know how you paint on rocks? So the paintings on these are mandalas. I don't know if they're painted. I get the feeling they may be stamped. We'll take a closer look at them though. But anyway, I'll tell you what I'm going to do with this. Let's just take a look at it. Okay, good, it's stained. I was hoping it would be stained because it's such a beautiful piece, honest. If it wasn't stained, I'd end up maybe keeping the whole piece. But the edges are very, very worn, and it is stained. So what I'm going to do with this, because it's big, is I'm probably first going to, and it's worn. So, and rightfully so. Look, somebody did a lot of beautiful work on this. Check this out. This is gorgeous. So what I'm going to do with this quilt is a couple of things. So, you guys may know, so I shared a video with you on the little finches that I got. So I did another video over on Vermont Sun and Shade on them because I was looking up Japanese names for them because I found out they're from Japan. And as you know, hi, how are you? Welcome. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And so, as you know, Boro Sashiko is an ancient method of creating, and it's an ancient Japanese method. So when I found out the birds were Japanese, originate from Japan, I started looking up Japanese names and I was saying them out loud. That's when they started to respond to me. They started to chirp. They started to feel like, you know, it sound like, I guess, be really comfortable. So anyway, what I'm going to make out of this is some, let me show you here, are these needle books, which some of you may have already seen this in another video. So this is a needle book. Now, if you remember, last week, I came back from this particular thrift shop with a whole bunch of felted pieces, felted bags. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with these? And I'm like, initially didn't know at all. Guess what we're doing? So what we're going to do is just what I did here, is add them to the little sewing needle book. Now, you want a number of little pieces of fabric pages, but they have to be like from flannel to felt to really soft. If you're going to use cotton like this, it's going to be a nice soft cotton. You don't want any blends, in my opinion, in your little needle book, because when you put the needle through blends, and you'll notice that when you're doing your sashiko stitching with your blends, if there's too much like nylon or spandex or synthetics in there, there's a resistance. So you want something nice to keep your needles, your special sewing needles in. This is a beautiful, like a muslin. I think that's like muslin. And this is another of the flannel. I made a little pocket. That's another, I'm sorry, of the felt bags that we had gotten. So so anyway, what I'm going to do with this quilt, and this is a hack, this is something that you can find on the internet all over the place if you want detail on it, but people take quilts just like you do with your regular fabrics, you know. A friend of mine, my fashionista friend, she says, well, Carmela, yeah, you can get scraps at the thrift shop, but you can get clothing and cut that up too. And absolutely, and that is what I do. And but yes, I want to be able to emphasize that. So not only that, right, you can get the clothing, but you can get quilts, you can get blankets, right? And sheets, of course, I've used as backing. But with the quilts, what people are doing to upcycle and repurpose is, yes, make little, this is just a tiny little project we're going to make, is the needle book. And then you can decorate it all up and make it really pretty. And, you know, these make a wonderful little kind of what do you call it, gift favor, like a little favor at weddings and things like that. You can make it a little junk journal even. It doesn't have to be a little sewing book, but you can just make it a little trinket. So what can you make out of the quilts? You can, if you're a sewist, you can definitely, you know, make a vest. You can make a jacket. There's quilted jackets, by the way, for the designer brands are extremely expensive. They are very expensive. So you can just get a quilt. You know how to sew your way to it. You can make, you know, vests or jackets. You know, when you get into skirts and shirts and stuff like that, I mean, it's quilted, but you know, if you want something really warm, oh, why not? Oh, you can make anything. You can make hats. Okay, and I would say a quilt like this, I would use this part of it right here for your 8-inch, because this is, let me get my tape measure. If you're gonna make a hat out of your quilt, I'm just saying that might be a way to go. Basically, a lot of these used fabrics and remnants out there, they already have guidelines for you. Look, this is, it looks a lot wider, but it's 3. So it's 3.5. This is 3.5. But you put it up, just kind of put it up to your head like that. You can see it's half of that 8. You know, it's almost half of the 8. 7.5 to 8-inch you need from your crown to your brow. And then that's what you need for your hat. So we may make a hat out of this together. Okay, I'm just thinking that now. Now the other thing is what you can make with this. Oh, what was I going to say? Yes, are the wall hangings, and that is pretty much what I'm going for with this. I want to make the little needle books, and I want to make some whimsical wall hangings. Now, if you take a look at this, you know, you can see this is very worn on this side. So I don't feel bad about using this for repurposing. If I got a piece, this is seen, you can see here in the middle, there's pieces of it you may not use. This to me is the perfect kind of used quilt you want to use, because it's really well worn. And then if it's like newer and has lots of artistry in it, it's like, do you really want to cut that up? You know what I mean? Or would you like to regift it or use it, extend the life of it in another way? But with this particular one, I'm looking at all of the squares and I'm thinking this is absolutely perfect. You see 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, see right there is perfect. So I'd like to cut that. I'm going to cut that. And then I'm going to maybe blanket stitch the edge, or do machine stitch pretty quickly, get the edges really secure. And then what I'm going to do, you're going to see here, because this is going to be my backing. I want to make a whimsical. Now, let me just say this. If I feel I can take, which I cannot see how that's going to happen. This is sewn straight through. I was going to say if I can take 3 pieces apart. I don't believe that's going to happen. What's going to happen is this whole quilt piece that I use will be my backing. So if I'm making like a whimsical bird, I'm just going to show you some things here. Let me bring these over there to show you what I'm working on right now. Okay, for those of you who missed it the other day, we designed and pieced together this piece. Okay, you see the pumpkins? It's a little Halloween piece, and I love the little coffee fabric in the background, and just placed the fabrics. And then you can see a little sashiko stitching. So I didn't do as much sashiko stitching as I would have normally to adhere the whole piece. I did sashiko stitching, and I did the machine free form. So we did that the other day. Now, since then, I've designed these pieces, and this one I started some sashiko stitching. I'm going to do a little bit more on the roof, so it's a little birdhouse, and I just put it up against the little pumpkin fabric, and this is going to be a little wall hanging also. And this one I particularly love, and I'm thinking I want to put another. You can see how the edges are naturally frayed. They're frayed. I love, love, love that. But I want to do, and I did a little of the sashiko stitching of the little flower onto the dotted print fabric. So I'm going to do a little free form and get that to this black background, which is just lovely. And then give it a backing to make it a little wall hanging. So I'm designing that, and I'm designing a number of these little mushrooms, and they're going to be wall hangings. The backings will be back to back, and they're going to be different designs with the same kind of different patterns, like this. Let me show you. And then, so these are all just like little whimsical, cutesy little things, because I love to go to the cutesy. So this, see? So, like that. And these will have, after I do my machine stitching and my sashiko stitching, I'm going to do those 2 stitches on here, and like here, just like I did on this one. And then I'm going to give it a backing like I did this one. That's back to back backing. So that's lovely. And so I'll do a few like that. And then I'm working on this one. And I just want to say, as I'm showing these pieces, okay, with Boro, yes, you can manipulate and absolutely make your pieces like little pictures. Boro is created with the visible stitching and the stacking and the manipulation like that of the fabrics, like the stacking and building of the fabrics. That's what's creating Boro, is the visible stitching. That is Boro. It's not slow stitching. That is just a synonymous name that has been adopted for contemporary visible stitching. It is truly origins of the Japanese culture, ancient culture. Okay, so let me just say, with a quilt like this, yes, you can do your, you can make wall hangings with a quilt like this, because you already have your 3 pieces. And how nice is it? You already have, a backing that you can work with and stitch right on. You can also just use your visible stitching to create a beautiful little picture with your sashiko stitching right onto a piece like this. You can cut out these 4 little squares. So we're going to do that. This afternoon I'm working, and this is another piece that I did. I'm just pulling these over because I don't know if I showed you, but this is another piece that I did, the little whimsical bird with the little bird houses. Little did I know I was going to end up with two finches. I had understood they just weren't getting any finches in for about 3 or 4 months. I just happened to ask, and these little finches were in. So anyway, I will jump back on here as I start cutting this up and lay out some pieces and start designing. And yes, in a little while, so get your pieces out, because shortly I'm going to jump back on here as I get some fabrics. And we will also be doing a little mini wall hanging Oboro Sashiko specifically. So jump back on, I'll jump back on, and I'll see you in a little bit. Love and light.